thought I might do a demonstration of a little tweak that I'm doing on this particular build. If you recall, I have the Orchard Starkrimson Ultra amp here, and I'm doing it a bit differently than normal. I'm doing it with a linear power supply. The first one I did was using their switched mode power supplies, which worked very well, and I thought as an alternative I'd try a linear supply so I could do a direct comparison of what was better. I talked to Leo, and he suggested that I use between 45 and 60,000 microfarads per rail. And I happen to have a bunch of screw terminal caps. They got me to 43,000, and it just bugged me that I wasn't past that 45,000 point. And then I realized I had these lovely little guys, and they are an additional 4,700 microfarads that I can put on each rail. Now, rather than connect them all the way back to the main capacitor banks, I thought I'd put them a little bit closer to the actual Starkrimson board. And because of the way this board is configured, it actually works out quite well this way. The connectors on here, there are 2 negatives in parallel, 2 grounds in parallel, 2 positives in parallel, and then 2 more grounds parallel with these 2 other grounds. So if I connect them in this fashion, I have some nice spacing here so that I can go from ground to negative here, and I can go from ground to positive here. What I did is I rigged up one of these neat little things here. So this is the actual smoothing capacitor, and then for additional smoothing as a bypass cap, I have here a 0.1 microfarad PPS capacitor. It's non-polar, which makes things a little bit easier. And what I do is I twist them together like that, and then I stick these ferrules on the end, snip them to fit, and then they can pop in right like this so that they're mounted directly on the boards like that. And the leads for the main electrolytic capacitor are strong enough that they end up being quite firm like that. So that's how they'll be mounted, but I thought I would just do one quick little demonstration as to how to build one of these things. So in this case, I need to make 2 more of them, and I'm going to make 1 for demonstration purposes, 2 more of them with negative on this side. And because the ferrules are going to be bending up like this, I want to keep this capacitor out of the way. So I want this capacitor to sit on this side of it here. So I just can hold it in that position. I hold it so the leads are like this, and then I just start going around. Same thing on the other side. Finish it off with pliers. And then I grab the ferrules and I slip them on to, you'll notice there's a little bit of space because we want to be able to bend it up into position, so about that point roughly. And then another one to the same position. And I probably will do these one at a time, because of course to get our little crimping device in requires that we just get a little bit of space there. These ferrules are fantastic in terms of making sure that you don't get stray wires sticking in places you don't want them. And in this case, so I'm a little bit off, but fortunately I can tweak that a little bit as I put into the thing. So I'll grab my other little cutting tool over here. And we just want to take a little bit off the end there, just a touch. A little bit off the end. There we go. And then when I bend these, what I do is I position the pliers sort of just below the ferrule and squeeze, and then I just bend it up at a right angle. Same situation on this side. Push that down a bit. So I did put this one just a touch low, but that's fine. I think it'll work. There we go. And sometimes after I pinch them, you'll notice they have a little bit of a funny shape. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you kind of have to round it out just a little bit if they don't want to go in. And then it's just a matter of seeing if they line up properly with the holes, and they're quite close there. This one guy doesn't want to go in. Make sure we're all the way up. Yep. There we go. It's still a little bit fat, so I'm going to just squeeze it down a bit. So I want to get it somewhat roundish so that it can just slip in nicely. And we're done. And as you can see, it slips in quite nicely right there. Voila! Perfection. Just like that. Now, of course, this is not the real board. This is just demonstration purposes, but as you can see, it fits in quite well. So there you go. That's the essence of it. So I have the 43,000 back at the main bank of capacitors. I actually have an additional ceramic capacitor, 1 microfarad. No idea whether it's going to help a lot, but theoretically it should filter a little bit of the higher frequency noise. And then it suggested that if you use a 0.1 microfarad capacitor closer to the load, that does a good job of filtering those last few little bits of high frequency noise. It's not going to hurt to put it in there. It might help. And that's how I managed to effectively get them connected to the Starkrimson board. Talk to you later.